magazine of the screen. Living glimpses of history in the making. Presented as a public service by Standard Oil Company.
With a pail and a net, Dr. Roman Vishniak is going exploring. His search is to take him no farther than the nearby seashore. For there is, in the oceans which cover 3/4 of the earth, a teeming water world whose tiny inhabitants are counted by the quadrillions. Dr. Vishniak is the world's leading photographer of microscopic life. He is a scientist and a philosopher with doctorates in zoology and medicine, and he speaks 8 languages. But his first love is discovering nature through photography, bringing to view infinitesimal ocean organisms like these mollusk embryos. At magnifications ranging from 100 to 6,000 times, Dr. Vishniak explores mysteries of life far beyond human vision. Notice the heartbeat of this single mollusk embryo as, like a baby chick, it waits to hatch from its egg. The opportunities for exploration are as limitless as the sea. And so, off Woods Hole on the Massachusetts coast, the 59-year-old doctor spryly carries his search for saltwater specimens out into the bay. This time he uses a net within a net to strain only the tiniest water dwellers into his jar. Although virtually invisible, they are looked upon by Dr. Vishniak as friends, deserving of civilized consideration. Some people think microscopic animals are all alike, he says, but oh no. They have individualities that make them different from one another, just like human beings. And photographing the milky, living dust collected in his jar, he shows what he means. Helter-skelter inhabitants called cyclops are among the busiest of Dr. Vishniak's neighbors in the water world. Tentacles flare out from their bodies like horns from a steer. And like the giant cyclops in Greek mythology, they have but a single eye. When a crab moves into the picture, the cyclops are in deadly peril, for they are a favorite food of larger animals. Quicker than the eye can see, the crab snatches and swallows the helpless cyclops. Here before our eyes is a life and death struggle seen through the microscope, recorded by the motion picture camera. But the cyclops multiply faster than they are destroyed to continue the cycle of life in the sea. For Dr. Vishniak, sea life is where you find it. It can be clinging to the shell of a horseshoe crab. The crab, strange as it seems, chews its food with its feet, and when released, always, seemingly by instinct, scurries toward the open sea. The Oceanographic Institution on the New England coast is a workshop for students of marine life. Dr. Vishniak comes here often with specimens he has collected from the sea. One is a smaller horseshoe crab. With the utmost of care, he scrapes off a tiny flatworm before photographing it in undreamed-of detail. Looking like a floating pancake, the flatworm is actually demonstrating the rhythmic motion it uses to travel. When it wants free transportation, the flatworm conveniently attaches itself to the horseshoe crab. Watch the hermit crab take cover. The crab is snug in its shell as the doctor removes other living specimens with the skill of a surgeon. Only living creatures, he insists, can be photographed truthfully, thus making possible an accurate report of their appearance and behavior. For Dr. Vishniak, who was 7 when he took his first microphotograph, the task requires intricate equipment and incredible patience. The bristle worm, for example, is constantly twisting and turning, ducking and dodging, and yet somehow the doctor manages to keep it in focus. Dr. Vishniak says no creature is simple. Here is proof. The bristleworm, unbelievably complex under the microscope, yet tinier than a pinhead. All the time, the bristles move in and out, barely visible even under magnification. Dr. Vishniak's amazing technique takes us inside the worm, just like an X-ray. This is a barnacle hunting food. Sweeping in and out of its shell, 6 pairs of feathery legs form a casting net to capture tiny creatures swimming past. Dr. Vishniak achieves an almost third-dimensional realism in photographing another underwater worm. There is a growing fascination in watching the frantic convolutions of the minute organism as it takes the shape of an unending pretzel. Although separated from our everyday world only by a set of lenses, here is a form of animal life whose complex and unending movements are unlike anything that has ever been seen by the unaided human eye. Next, an amphitrite bursts into view, its plumage as bright as holiday streamers. Dr. Vishniak's own intricate lighting system helps capture the full beauty of one of the loveliest creatures of the sea. Body and streamers shine with iridescent splendor. Photographing a world most of us didn't know existed, Dr. Vishniak presents its inhabitants in brilliant glory. He returns his specimens alive to their homes. Just because they are small, he says, doesn't mean they have no rights. Water, what wonders it holds for Dr. Roman Vishniak, explorer of the world within the sea.